So 2 invitations to set out on the adventure of faith. Abraham is summoned to leave his people, to go to the promised land, and there be a great blessing to all the nations. And he goes. And the disciples are called by the Lord to follow him to Jerusalem, where he will suffer and die and rise again and conquer death. But they don't want to go. They don't want to listen to him. They're afraid to set out. And so he is transfigured in their sight to give them courage for the journey. Lent is a time for us to remember too the astonishing promise that God has made for us. Infinite joy, fullness of life. But we too are called to set out on the adventure of faith. But like the disciples, we may hesitate to do so. One of the ways we do this sometimes is by domesticating our faith, making Christianity a slightly tepid ethic, being nice and nothing much more. Then we wonder why nobody's interested, why our faith seems boring and doesn't attract many young people. The paradox is that the most popular dramas of the 20th century were Christian in origin. They excited people. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings is the adventure of his Catholic faith. He used to come to Mass here quite often. He used to serve in that altar of St. Dominic over there. Tolkien wrote to his son Michael before his first communion, "I put before you the one great thing to love on earth, the Blessed Sacrament. There you will find romance, glory, honor, fidelity, and the true way of all your loves upon earth." But also C.S. Lewis's Narnia tales, Rowling's Harry Potter stories, they're all Christian in origin. And they fill people with excitement, even today. So let's not water down our faith. Let's not tame it. Lent is a time to hear again the great promise of God, infinite happiness, and to dare to set out on its adventure. The brethren behind me will all remember the words of our brother Herbert McCabe, who said, "If you love, you will get hurt and even killed. If you don't love, you're dead already." Think of our Dominican ancestors who set out to Asia to preach the gospel. Only half of them ever arrived. The others died on the way, shipwrecked, captured by pirates, sick. For most of us, the drama of our faith is less obvious, but it's still there, hanging on to a marriage when the love seems to be gone, daring to love again, raising up children who are difficult and who break your heart, teaching in a school that appears to be a battleground, being a nurse or a doctor in these tough times, becoming old, facing sickness and death, hanging on to your religious vocation when perhaps the first enthusiasm has gone. But in Lent, we remember the great promise of the Lord, and we carry on whatever the cost. The three disciples on the mountain saw the Lord in glory, in dazzling white. What have we got? Well, we're wearing white, but it's not very dazzling. What gives us courage for the adventure? The disciples were with the Lord on the mountain. And Lent can be a time when we are with the Lord in silence and in prayer, when we wake up to the fact that the Lord is always with us. 4 times during Mass we say, "The Lord be with you," and He is. It's hard to find these moments of silence with the Lord if you're a busy parent rushing around. But even a moment can give us courage because the Lord is with us. We don't pray to achieve anything, to do anything. Above all, we pray just to be with the Lord. On the mountain, they see Moses and Elijah who witness to the Lord. Who witnesses to the Lord for us? Who are the people who've you known, who've pointed to Him? I think of old brethren that I've known and loved, Conrad Pepler in Cambridge, Marie-Dominique Chenou in Paris. Who are your witnesses? And finally, there's beauty on the mountain. Von Balthasar talked about the self-evidence of beauty, its intrinsic authority. In 988 AD, when Prince Vladimir of Kiev took part in the Eucharist at Hagia Sophia in Constantinople, he wrote home, "We did not know whether we were in heaven or on earth. Never have we seen such beauty, God dwelling with humanity." We're not quite there yet at Blackfriars, but all beauty summons us. It promises that peace for which we long, that final harmony when all will be at rest. Beauty, whether in music or poetry or even great films, promises us the final end. C.S. Lewis called this Sehnsucht, the inconsolable longing in the heart for we know not what. Glimpses of beauty give us courage to come down the mountain, to carry on walking, each of us going to our own Good Friday and our own Easter Sunday.